Thank you, everybody. I am Lucy Greco. I am an accessibility evangelist, and I have been working in the field for about 30 to 40 years now. At my feet, I have a brand spanking new, like 3 days in the field guide dog, Keller. And today we're going to talk about AI. What we're not going to talk about is the things that you think about when we talk about AI. We're going to talk about how AI can be practically used to create accessibility and help you in accessibility. I'm not going to talk about ChatGPT. I'm not going to talk about Llama 1 or any of those things. I'm just going to talk about the daily uses of it and how you should think about using AI in your work and the things you should consider while doing that. So if that's okay with everybody, we can begin.
Slide 2 of 34, some myths. Previous, button up.
So some myths, I've already talked about this. So AI is not a new thing. We've been using AI, especially in the accessibility world, for decades. Dragon Naturally Speaking came out in like the mid 80s. It was a form of AI. Spell check, that's a form of AI. It's just new and hot right now. Like everything else, it'll go through its phases and it'll become part of the norm. Also, I wanted to let everyone know, don't worry if I miss bullets on my slide. The bullets are there for people who want slides. I hate slides. So the titles are all I need to hear to remind me that, this is the bullet point I wanted to talk about. So the titles are the real bullets. All right.
Previous, button. Open the slide, pick next, button. Slide 3 of 34, AI cannot replace people. Previous, button, open the.
Yeah, Google, why does previous have to be the focus button? All right, so AI can't replace people. There's a real serious reason for that. And the serious reason for that is that people have emotions, people have thought processes that are in some ways faster, in some ways slower than computers. But people have reasons for doing things, and AI doesn't
Button previous, open this.
Shush, thank you. People don't necessarily, or, AI doesn't necessarily know what the reason for something is or the purpose for something. And you'll see a little bit more of this coming up in the slides. But, AI isn't there to replace people. And this is the thing I want you to think about throughout this entire presentation. AI is there to help us make our life faster, make our life easier, but we have to use it thinking about what we're doing and how we're doing it and how best to utilize what AI can do for us.
Previous, open the slide, next, button. Slide 4 of 34, AI can help make things accessible, but we still need humans to verify. Previous.
So this is just re-emphasizing the point. We need humans to verify. We need to make sure that, I hate this word. I hate it because it's really inaccurate, that the AI doesn't hallucinate. So use AI to do something, but check it, verify it, confirm it. AI can create something a lot faster than you can, but you still have to check it and look at it. Because if you don't, when I was teaching Dragon to students at Berkeley, I would tell them, it'll take you 30 to 40 minutes to train your speech profile. It'll take it 3 minutes for you to destroy your speech profile if you don't correct it and you don't verify it. It's really important to verify. I mean, the more you let it get away with mistakes and errors and you don't correct them and you don't think about it, you're teaching bad behaviors, and those bad behaviors, I mean, we've all heard it in the news about all these AIs that have been taught to become pornographic in moments. It happens, and we have to be cautious. That can happen with accessibility and AI as well.
Previous, open the slide, next. Slide 5 of 34, what happens when AI forgets about people that are different? Previous.
So this is an example of AI, and I use this in both of my AI talks. I do another talk on, how to be more inclusive when thinking about your AI models. So how many of you in this room, and say I, don't put up your hands because it's meaningless. How many of you in this room have the iPhone 16? All right, did you have any problems doing the facial recognition on it? Because it's completely different. Again, I. Yes, one person in the room had problems with the facial recognition. I believe there is a photo on this page of a very dear friend of mine, the person I've probably known in the US the longest working in accessibility. And you'll note that this person has severe facial scarring and an unusual face. He bought an iPhone 16 because he needed to update his iPhone 12. His iPhone 12 worked okay for him. It worked great. The facial recognition worked perfectly. What happened when he got his iPhone 16? He could not. It absolutely refused to actually enroll him in facial recognition. And this was a real problem. He couldn't just use the phone without the facial recognition because the iPhone 16 doesn't have any other bio authentication, and his company that he works for requires biometric login and all devices to be secure that are being used to access company resources. If he could not enroll his face, this was a problem, a serious problem. He was so glad he didn't take the trade-in on his iPhone 12. So he returned the iPhone 16 and has now been working with Apple to fix the problem. The problem is with that is that it's not his job. He doesn't work for Apple. And Apple is putting a huge burden on him, and they're doing all kinds of work for him that, you know, eliminates the idea that other people may have these problems. They have a staff employee who has very similar facial scarring and facial problems. They didn't turn to that person to train their AI, and now they're turning to my friend to do the training for their AI. So, you know, they're doing a one-off, and one-offs don't work. This is a really critical story because it shows that, you know, if they had just thought about looking for differences, looking for inclusive ways of doing their models, the problem was with that one, just so you know, is it kept telling him to open his eyes. He has one false eye and no eye on the other side, I believe. Couldn't open his eyes if he wanted to. And I hope that what they are doing works, but not only for him, but for everyone else, and that Apple learned some lessons on this one.
Previous. Open the slide picker list submenu. Next. But slide 6 of 34. iOS AI. Previous.
So now I've given you some bad information about Apple. These are the functions and features that Apple has done with AI that are really freaking cool for people. And I'm not gonna read the whole slide off, but I'm gonna, you know, do the ones I remember by heart. So during the pandemic, what was the biggest problem people had was keeping a distance. If you're blind, how do you know that you're 6 feet away from somebody? How do you know that, you know, the line in the grocery store is moving and the marks on the floor that where you're supposed to stand? So they came out with this feature that they have that allows you to be sure that you stay within 6 feet of other people. Pretty cool. Works really well as long as you have a newer model phone. By the way, that iPhone 12 did not support that. Only the iPhone 13 does. And beyond. Being able to identify where doors are, being able to read signs, all this is done with AI. Being able to identify images on your screen that don't have alt text. Great AI features, nicely done.
Previous. Button. Open the slide. Next. Slide 11 of 34. OCR.
So optical character recognition has always been a form of AI. I mean, you think of it as maybe an algorithm, or wait a minute, that's what ARs are, aren't they? So OCR can be used in so many ways. We use it in accessibility services in academia all the time to transcribe textbooks for students. There's no way with the amount of reading our students do today that we could get somebody to type in their textbook or get somebody to audio record textbooks anymore. We use OCR for that all the time. That's just another form of AI that we use to help create accessibility. But again, if you don't check what the OCR is recognizing, it might be incomprehensible. Just like in a PDF, for example, if you don't do the proper flow, maybe the columns are running together. Maybe the words are running together. You got to check your OCR because it's a form of AI. You just got to do it.
Previous, open the next button. Slide 12 of 34. Echo Labs, a truly amazing AI.
All right, now here's the real reason why we had to fight so hard for this audio setup here that you saw us fighting for. These guys are doing some really amazing work with captioning and audio description. Their captioning is one of the best I've seen with AI. However, they're doing it the right way. They actually have the AI do the first pass on any of the captions they do. And then they break it down into segments, and segments are something that we're very familiar with in the captioning world. And every single segment is graded by the AI with a confidence score. And anything that has a below certain level, I never could figure out what the percentage level was from them, is actually sent off to, not to a crowdsource like some of the other companies, but to professional AI or professional cart providers who actually verify that the AI got it right. And if they didn't, they clean it up and do the fixes for them. And they can get captions done now. I've seen them do a 2-hour video in under 20 hours for us with an accurate scoring. The other really cool thing is they always provide speaker names. If you can give them some way of providing, if you can give them the names, in case you never mention them, it actually does do speaker names. It does sound detection, and it doesn't just say music like some of the other automatic ones do. It will actually say door slamming, dog barking, what have you. Really nicely done captions. But their audio description is also done with AI. So I am going to, hope it works, everybody. You know how the demo gods go.
Previous, open the slide, next. Open the clickable slide 12 of 30, bullet captions with speak, link start HTTPS, www.
All right, here we go. This is a audio described video. This is a very old, well-known video. So you're going to note that the video itself has fairly poor visual quality. That's important to know when, for anybody who can't see this, for you to understand how good this audio description is. This was done back in last summer. Their model has improved since then, just to give you an idea of how well they're doing. All right, everybody ready? Yes? We need to switch to plan B? All right, should I play it anyways, though? So they can see it, or will they be able to see it from you playing it? All right, everyone turn around and look back there. All right, just to explain to everyone who couldn't hear what Adam is saying, we're not getting the audio from my computer as well as we would, but we would like. So Adam is going to play the audio for everybody. And hey, close your eyes. Maybe you can get this in the way a blind person sees it. Should I try, Adam? It's only like a... Okay, it's only a 30-second video, so we'll be good. Did that work? Did that work? No.
Out of frame app blank. Echo Labs. Link start HTTPS. Application.
Use the wrong keystroke.
Menu bar slides home link.
Come on.
B. Rename edit. Start checkbox not checked. Document region. Document selected. Grouping. Bullet captions with speaker.
Well, maybe, maybe not.
Echo Labs. Bullet captions with Echo Labs. A truly amazing AI.
Let's go back into presentation mode.
Load to
I've done this 100 times, everyone. It doesn't work when you try and do it on live.
previous, but clickable link start HTTPS, www.
Should be, oh, it's Alt Enter.
Downloading 0B, watch, 1, HDM alert. No next button, out of frame application clickable. No preview, no next button, Echo Lab, application.
Nope. All right, Adam, back to you. It worked. I tell you, it worked before. Oh. It is, so the video is the 1984 introduction to the Macintosh computer, not the one with the hammer, not the one that's like truly frightening 1984-ish. It is the actual live presentation of Steve Jobs presenting the video. And it does a phenomenal job of describing, first of all, that Steve Jobs is sitting on stage. It tells what's on his screen. It talks about the fact that there is handwritten characters on the screen. It talks about the fact that there's an image of a woman brushing her hair. I didn't know there was a woman brushing her hair in that video. Who knew? It is just really, really well done. And maybe, you know, I wish I could share the link to it to everybody, but it is on the slides. So when you get the slides, play the video, listen to it. I have seen them do some really good work with scientific material. They have a demo of a biology lecture that is talking about different image or different parts of a cell that are on screen. It's extremely well done AI interpretation. And it's done like so fast. It's just amazingly fast. You know, a 5-minute video is done in under 30 seconds. It just renders it and does the audio description. Their voices are really good. The one in this video is this, you know, British woman who sounds like a professional newscaster. I've heard some male ones that sound like, you know, some sexy news reporter. All right, let's get back to it.
Document selected.
Let's have some fun. So we're about to have some fun with this presentation. So where am I?
Bullet captions with speaker recognition.
Okay, get out of there, go back into presentation mode. Sorry, I talk to myself all the time.
Load to exit full screen.
Okay, and
Previous, open the slide. Next, slide 13 of 34. Can AI tell you if something is accessible?
so can AI tell you if something is accessible? We've been using accessibility scanners for years, and I consider that a form of AI. Can it tell you fundamentally and fully and completely if it's accessible? No, because it can tell you that you have alt text, but it doesn't know if the alt text is right. As AI becomes more contextually aware, it might be able to do a better job, but fundamentally, absolutely at the end, you have to check your work. You really do have to check your work. Otherwise, you're going to get a picture of someone like George Washington being, you know, a man standing. It's not going to be clear that it's George Washington. I mean, the AIs are getting to the point where it can tell you it's George Washington, but it's not there yet. Check your work, check your work. Can I repeat that anymore? Is everybody tired of hearing it? Do you get it?
Previous, open the slide. Next, slide 14 of 34. So should we use AI for accessibility tasks? Previous.
So what do you guys think? Should we use AI for accessibility tasks? This is where I want you to start participating. Anybody have some ideas of where we can use AI or any strong opinions after hearing what I've said? Argue with me, you know, prove me wrong. Hands up. And, sorry, to make the comments so the person with the microphone can run to you. Not for me.
I'm running the mic, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Take your time.
Yes, it can make you way more efficient to be able to tell where you just don't have a solution for the accessibility at all. For example, the thing that you said, alt text, you could have no alt text at all, and AI can identify that way faster sometimes than you can.
Exactly, 100%. It can identify where there is no alt text. It actually can identify where there is alt text for you to be able to check it. You can use an AI to like say, oh, there's, you know, 5,000 images on this web page, and be able to pick them out and go through them slowly and determine which ones have alt text. You don't want to go through all 5,000 images. You want to know which ones don't have alt text. Then you want to go back and check the alt text later. It is very much so. I agree with you 100%. You definitely need to use AI to start your work. And, you know, like I said before, we can't use if we can't type a textbook, but we can sure as well, you know, OCR it and get that OCR to do the majority of the work. You know, at Berkeley, we have over 7,000 textbooks that we scan a semester. We could not do that without the AI of OCR. Anybody else?
Yes, Lucy, this is Glenda. I want to make it clear that I absolutely believe humans are important and that we are not going to be able to test accessibility at 100%. You can quote me on that. I work at TQ. There's a joke in there somewhere. It's crucial that we use AI for accessibility testing and that we push it as far as we can, especially because the manual testing takes so long. And I want something to raise a red flag, like when it's super obvious, or a yellow flag when this looks pretty suspicious. And I think that we can push it to do things like this key, this button is not keyboard accessible.
Button previous. Open.
There's so many things that we aren't able to currently do as easily that we will be able to do. And so I am hoping for reasonably accurate AI testing in the 80 percentile, which is going to let us humans take it to the next level, way beyond WCAG compliance.
Exactly. I mean, 100%. I'm so with you, Glenda. It is, you know, we have to do that work. I listened to a presentation just yesterday, you know, that talked about the fact that if you have a dynamically generated web page, and that dynamically generated web page is coming, you know, from 1,000 or 10,000 different sources, there's no way you're going to be able to manually test all that. But the AI can tell you what the touch points are that need to be tested on that. And it can tell you at least that all the code is valid and that, you know, the heading structure is there and everything is there that needs to be there. Then it's, you know, guiding your way and holding your hand through where the touch points for people are. We still are important. We still are critical to the formula, but we need that help because we know that we're all falling behind in our accessibility work right now, and the AI is there to help us. Anybody else? All right, should we have some fun now? I think my next one's the fun slides.
Previous. Open this. Next. Slide 15 of 34. AI apps created to help blind people. Previous. Button open.
All right, so here's an overview of some AI apps that are used today for people who are blind and used by people who are blind to actually do, you know, some image recognition for them. And our exercise today is I'm going to show 3 images. I'm going to ask somebody to actually describe that image, and then we're going to see how these apps work.
Previous. Open the slide. Pick next. Slide 17 of 34. Guided frame. Previous.
Oh, I wanted to just talk about this one. I thought I eliminated this slide, but I can talk about it anyways. Guided Frame is the camera app that's on Android, and it's similar to what is being done on iOS, where you can look at people and you can look at different items and it will identify if it's in frame and it will help you center it. The problem is it's all AI driven, just like the one on iOS. It's brand spanking new. It's only been available for about 1.5 years. The reason I didn't want to do this one today is because I didn't want to do the demo that I normally do with it, where I hold my phone up and try and actually get it to tell me how many people are in the audience. And when I do the demo, just so you all know, I was in an audience of 87 people and it told me 3 people were in the audience. And I got somebody cited to stand behind me and tell me how many people were in frame, and it said the whole audience was in frame. So, you know, it gets there. It needs some work. I'm hoping when I do this presentation at CSUN, the Google person who created this will be in the audience and, you know, could speak to that problem. I will be using my phone in that one because I do want a Googler to see it, so.
Previous. Open this. Next. Slide 18 of 34. Google Lookout. Previous. Button open the slide picker lists.
I did this one too. Okay, there's some important things to know about Lookout. It is the Android, you know, Google makes it itself. It's called Lookout. It is really handy, or is it? So it will help you find things. So I could tell it I want to find the cup on the table, and it will tell me when the cup is in view. But does that put my hand on the cup? No. The iOS version of that does things like read digital screens and help you find the button that you might need to touch on a flat screen, does tell you when your hand is in view. The other thing it does is it will help you identify where a car is. I was so excited when I heard about that. I thought, oh, finally, I get to find my car for Uber. It told me the car was 6 feet away when it was a foot in front of me. What's even worse is it actually doesn't tell you what model of car it is. And that's what it needs to do. How many times do you see an Uber that you've got a Prius coming and, you know, the car sitting in front of you is not a Prius? Have you ever opened the car? I mean, I don't know how many people might be blind in this room, but when you open some stranger's car door and say Uber and they're not, they don't like that so much. Yeah. Or the door is locked and you start shaking the handle because you think the driver is not letting you in. Okay, I guess it's a good thing I left that slide in place.
Previous, open the slide pic. Next, slide 19 of 34, pipe organ scene.
All right, so who wants to be our describer for this scene? And when we run out of time, we maybe run out of time. Who wants to describe this image?
Nobody's volunteered yet.
Come on.
Don't make us voluntold you.
I want to run this mic to somebody over there.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Darcy. A scene, let's see. An outdoor setting with a building that has benches in front of it, similar to church pews, with people sitting in them and looking towards the building.
Okay. That's a good description. I would consider that adequate. No, because I'm about to show it.
Oh.
I'm not going to show ChatGPT, but two of the apps that I'm looking at use ChatGPT. You could give us at the end if it doesn't actually, yeah. Okay. All right, we ready to see the audio description from the different apps?
Previous, open the slide. Next, button. Slide 20 of 34, pipe organ scene from Google Lookout.
All
Previous.
right, who wants to read the alt text on this image? I could, but I mean, I don't want the screen reader to read it. So just read the text that's showing for this one.
Image alt text. People are sitting on benches facing a large white gazebo-like structure under a cloudy sky.
Very nice. All right, here we go. One of these days I'll figure out how to actually record the audio from my phone and I'll get it to read it. Okay. So keep that in mind, everybody, because we're going to vote at the end.
Previous, open the slide. Next, but slide 21 of 34, pipe organ scene from Seeing AI.
All right. Who's going to read it? So if we have a blind person in the audience.
You want to? Right here.
I actually can see that, even though I need readers usually.
Oh,
Image alt text. The image depicts an outdoor amphitheater with a large ornate stage structure in the background. The stage features a prominent arch with intricate detailing and a set of large organ pipes visible within the arch. The amphitheater is surrounded by tall trees, which are visible behind the stage. In the foreground, there are several rows of benches arranged in a semicircular fashion facing the stage. People are seated on these benches with their backs to the camera observing the stage. The bench is made of light colored material with a perforated design. In the center of the image, a woman with short blonde hair is seated on a bench wearing a turquoise jacket. Next to her, a man is seated wearing a dark baseball cap and a gray jacket. To the left, a man in a blue shirt and dark shorts is walking towards the stage, accompanied by a dog on a leash. The dog is positioned close to the ground, sniffing the pavement. The audience is diverse, with individuals of varying ages and attire, suggesting a casual gathering. The ground is paved with interlocking bricks, and the sky above is overcast, providing a neutral backdrop to the scene.
okay. All right. So that's Seeing AI. That's the Microsoft product. Are we ready for the next one?
Previous, open the next, button.
I told you this was going to be fun.
Slide 22 of 34, pipe organ scene from Be My Eyes.
Be My Eyes now. This is the company that all they do is image recognition. We need a reader again. Sorry.
Image alt text, an outdoor amphitheater with a large ornate organ structure at the front. The sky is overcast and there are many people seated on benches facing the stage. A man in a blue shirt and shorts is walking a dog on the left side of the image. The audience consists of people of various ages, some wearing jackets or hats, suggesting cooler weather. Tall trees are visible in the background behind the stage.
Okay, all right. We got one more, I believe.
Open the next button. Slide 23 of 34. Pipe organ scene from Gemini from TalkBack. Previous button. Open.
Okay, this is the new built-in image recognition on Android. Volunteer, please.
My side's winning, I'm just saying.
You guys are doing great. Nobody's gonna be faulted for missing things, so.
Image alt text. This is a photo of a group of people sitting on benches in front of a large white building. The building has a large arched opening with a pipe organ inside. There is a lot of greenery around the building, including trees and bushes. The sky is cloudy. The people in the photo are all dressed casually. There is a dog sitting on the ground in front of the bench. The photo is taken from a low angle looking up at the building.
All right, we've had the 4 image descriptions. Is the Chat GPT one you have, Glenda, any different? Yeah, Seeing AI does use Chat GPT, and I have to tell you, I had this argument with this friend of mine from Apple, and he swears that they don't use Chat GPT, and I know they do. All right, how many people liked the description that the human gave? And that would be me too, by the way. All right, how about the Seeing AI description? That's actually my favorite. Yeah, it was the big long one. Yeah, yeah. Okay, how about the Be My Eyes one? How many people liked that one? And the Gemini one that we just have on screen right now. I just added this one to the slide deck. It wasn't there previously. All right. You guys want to hear my theory on this? Be My Eyes is a company that deals only with providing access to blind people to images. They do this in several ways. It is primarily right now an AI tool that you can snap a picture of and it will describe it. You can then engage with it more and ask it more questions and so forth. However, you have to be aware of what the AI is doing and why the AI is doing what it's doing. You all liked the Be My Eyes description. They want you to like that description. I had a theory when I was first working on this presentation early last year that the Be My Eyes descriptions were intentionally warm, cozy, concise. They always told you nice things. So I had a friend of mine take an image of a bureau to find out what color it was. And it said, looks well loved and well used. It was battered and scarred. And it's really hard to get Be My Eyes to tell you something in a negative way. Unless, of course, you're using it to pick up after your dog, which you can do, by the way. You can use Be My AI to find out where your dog went to pick it up. There's better ways. We've been doing it for years. How many people were aware that if you even knew about Be My Eyes, that Be My Eyes sells their data? They announced that 8 months after I had hypothesized that that was what they were doing. So back in September, 6 months after I had started working on this presentation and coming up with that hypothesis, they announced that they sell their data and that you have to opt out if you don't want your data sold. And I have to tell you, having just installed it on a new phone, it's pretty damn hard to opt out. So Seeing AI does not store your images, does not store any of the work you do. That's why I actually like that AI best. The Gemini one that we just did is also very assumptive of emotion, feeling. I've had it look at political images, and it will start telling me that, you know, this is a political rally and that these people are convincing, these people are, it just starts telling me things that I don't think belong in alt text. And I could be wrong, but I feel that alt text should not make assumptions, should not express emotion. It's kind of like when we're transcribing something to Braille. You don't correct the spelling mistakes that's in the original text when you're transcribing to Braille, because that you're transcribing and you need to give an accurate representation, and emotion and feeling shouldn't be in alt text. Does anybody here know what where this pipe organ is? The glasses I was using to take this picture, which are meta glasses, knew what and where this organ was. This is the, and I'm going to get wrong, the Greco organ in Balboa Park in San Diego. And the Meta AI not only described it to me, but gave me the history of the organ when I asked it what I was looking at. Creepy. Do we want to do another one? How much time do we have left?
9:16 a.m.
Okay, let's do one more.
Previous. Open this. Next. Slide 24 of 34. Boat scene. Preview.
All right. Who wants to describe this image?
Okay, I need my side to show up for this one.
Okay.
The scene would be of troubled waters and a sunset in the distance, mostly a blue sky, and the waters are the feature.
Just as an FYI for everybody, I actually did take all of or both of these images with the meta glasses. All right, here we go with the alt text.
Open. Next. Button. Slide 25 of 34. Boat scene from Google Lookout. Preview.
Okay. Somebody want to read?
Okay. Image alt text, a view of dark blue waves in the ocean from the back of a boat with pink and orange sunset in the distance.
Okay. We got the back of the boat now. Good. This was a fun ride, by the way. I would suggest the dinner sunset ride in Kauai.
Previous. Open this. Next. But slide 26 of 34. Boat scene from Seeing AI.
All right, the Seeing AI one now. These guys don't sell your data.
Button. Previous. Open.
Go ahead. Anybody?
I'm running.
Image alt text. The image captures a dynamic scene of the ocean with waves prominently in the foreground. The waves are of varying sizes, with some crests breaking and creating white foam. The ocean extends into the distance, meeting the horizon. Above the horizon, the sky is visible, with clouds scattered across it. The clouds are positioned in layers, with some appearing closer to the horizon and others higher up in the sky. The sun is setting or rising, casting a warm glow on the clouds and the water. On the right side of the image, a landmass is visible, stretching from the middle to the far right edge of the image. The land appears to be a coastline with a gentle slope leading down to the water.
That's a lot. Okay,
Open. Next. Open the options menu. Menu button collapsed.
too far.
Next. But slide 27 of 34. Boat scene from Be My Eyes.
All right, Be My Eyes. I wish I could just get this thing to read it. Go ahead, somebody, please.
A dynamic scene of the ocean with choppy waves captured during what appears to be the sunset. The sky is filled with clouds, some of which are illuminated by the warm hues of the setting sun, creating a striking contrast with the darker, cooler tones of the water. The horizon is slightly tilted, adding a sense of movement to the image. In the background, a faint outline of land is visible on the right side. The foreground shows the frothy white crests of the waves, indicating a lively sea.
Thank you. All right, last one.
Open. Next. Button. Slide 28.
All right. Somebody want to read this one?
Here you go.
Hold on. Let's wait for the mic. Sorry.
Your microphone.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna yell. The image shows a beautiful sunset over the ocean. The sun is setting in the distance, casting a warm glow over the water. The clouds are a mixture of pink, orange, and purple, and the waves are cresting and breaking. The sky is a deep blue, and the air is calm and serene. How can they see the air? The image is a beautiful representation of nature's beauty.
Calm and serene. I love that. It's calm and serene. I have to tell you, it was not calm and serene. The boat was tossing. Hey. The meta glasses are the only ones that caught the hair. Every single one missed it, except for the glasses themselves said, there is a hair in front of the lens. Which tells you how windy it was. All right, I have one more image, but we're not going to go through it. We're just going to have the opportunity for you guys to ask questions.
Previous.
But I will show the image because it's a very sweet image.
Open the slide. Next button. Slide 29 of 34. Dog scene.
I have no idea who these dogs are. I think one of them may be my previous guide who passed away. But I just have no idea who these dogs are. And I have to tell you, I had to run this through Seeing AI twice yesterday because the first time we ran it through Seeing AI gave the dogs names. And I have no idea where those names came from. It was something like Bella and Kathy or something like that. And it's like, what? I mean, if I have no idea who the names are, how did it come up with names for those? Yeah.
On iPhone, there are people and places. So I know you weren't using iPhone, but I could picture a future where iPhone could tell me, I think that's Maggie, for example.
Exactly.
Maggie is a dog in my iPhone photos.
Yes. And it does better most of the time, but I mean, it's just the fact that it came up with names for the dogs when I don't even know who the dogs are.
Alt text description.
Shush. Was really kind of irritating. If anybody wants to see what it came up with, just so you know, I actually have a beta version of Seeing AI on my phone, and my phone kept crashing every time I tried to get it to read. So I did have to send it to somebody with an iPhone to do the alt text for me. I wanted to get a more updated alt text because the one before was really good. Let me just skim through these and I'll tell you some of the things that it points out.
Slide image alt text description. Previous, but open the slide. Next. Slide 31 of 34.
So all of these alt texts except for lookout.
Open next. Slide 30.
Mention the guitar in the background. Some of them call it an acoustic guitar. Some of them do not. Some of them talk about the window. Some of them talk about the sofa. All I wanted to know was that there's dogs there, everybody. All right, that's the end of my presentation. I'm going to turn off my computer and just talk to you guys now.
Secure desktop window.
Shush. So for me, AI has tons of potential. It has lots of potential. You know, I am subscribed to the new autonomous guiding robot theory, all these robots. There's tons of them out there. There's, you know, IBM is creating one that's the shape of a suitcase. I actually have a video about that on my YouTube channel. You know, there's a school, I think it's MIT, maybe it's another school that's doing a dog. There's a cane that will detect objects and tell you what they are. The one I'm subscribed to is the one created by the creator of the blindness app Soundscape. And the reason I like it is because it puts me in control. The product is called Glide and the company is Glidance, if you want to look it up. And the reason I think it's the best one of all these guide AIs that are going to be available is because, again, like I said, it puts the user in control. I have to push the device. I hold it like a white cane and I feel the ground and I push it. If it detects an obstacle, it resists me and gives me the ability to feel for the opening. It doesn't yank me over to the opening. You know, just like we don't like people grabbing our arm and helping us across the street. I don't want a robot doing that to me either. So I think Glidance is going to do extraordinarily well with its AI components that are built into it because it puts me in control. I get to tell it what I want to know. You know, if I'm walking down the street and looking for a Starbucks, it may vibrate on the right-hand side of the handle to tell me to turn right, but it's up to me to make the turn. You know, it's not going to force me into that turn. It's not going to make me do something that I don't, you know, maybe I changed my mind. Maybe I didn't want Starbucks. Maybe I really want Pete's. I am from Berkeley. We do like Pete's better. You know, that's going to be a wonderful source. I mean, I can't tell you how long I've been waiting for autonomous cars. My husband worked on an autonomous car for Stanford. Yes, I work at Berkeley. He went and worked at Stanford. Big competition there. They worked on an autonomous car and I never got a chance to ride in that autonomous car and I resented it forever that I didn't get to ride in this car. You know, he's promised me that the day these things are available, we'll show up with a cashier's check, even if it costs our life savings and we have to go back to work. But he's promised me we will get an autonomous car. I think the taxi services are going to actually be the way we get the autonomous vehicles, and I can't wait. I just can't wait. On my way here yesterday, I got first Uber I ever called with my new dog, rejected the first call. And this is a problem. This is something that we're having a problem with all the time. You know, the Uber shows up, sees the dog and takes off. And the robot doesn't care if I have a dog. In fact, the robot helps me find it. Have any of you here taken one of the Waymos that are available in some few scattered cities? Say aye. No? Aye, okay, good. So if you're a blind person and you order the Waymo and the Waymo says it has arrived, it's never going to arrive right in front of you. I mean, that would just be too easy, right? So what you can do is in the app, you can push a button and, you know, I often tell my Ubers to honk their horn so I can find them, but honking horns can be somewhat, I mean, other people might be honking their horns. So you might get two horns honking and go in the wrong direction. It actually plays a very distinctive tune and it tells you if you're getting closer to the vehicle or not. When you arrive, it tells you what side of the car you should get in or out of, because maybe you should get out on the left or versus the right. I mean, this is just so damn cool. This is what we really need is, you know, a driver that makes very few mistakes. And yes, they've all had accidents. And yes, they've all made mistakes. Every single one of the companies that are testing these things have all had accidents. But when we look at it, the fact that most of them have several million miles that they've tested on, and maybe they have 10, 20 accidents that they've been involved in. How many drivers can say that? How many, you know, human beings that haven't had their cup of coffee in the morning can say that they are a perfect driver and have had few incidences of accidents or, you know, near misses? I think, you know, we need this. I think I want this. I hope all of you want this. Yes, there's going to be some trust issues. You know, the hardest part for us to get these things on the road is not the technology. The technology will come. It's going to be the legislation and the support of other people. And I beg you all to support it if it comes to your neighborhood, because you're helping me when you do.
Hey, Lucy, we have a few questions for you.
I'm ready.
Are
for
you
questions.
ready?
Yep.
Okay.
I was surprised that you preferred the alt text that was the longest and the most detailed. Some people recommend a character limit of like 140 characters or something like that. And so I wondered if you always preferred the longer alt text and if it depends on the context and the purpose of the image.
99.9% of the time, I prefer the shorter. I preferred it because it didn't try and tell me how I should feel. It didn't include emotion. It didn't say warm. It didn't say, vibrant. It didn't say, it actually failed in the point of the fact that it didn't say it, and it was sunset. It said sunset or sunrise. So, I mean, the reason I like it is because it is more precise. And it's not trying to add things to the image that might not necessarily be there. I do like short alt text. In fact, I'm the kind of person who says decorative images should be decorative. Don't give me that damn decorative image unless you have to. And I've had blind people argue with me all the time. A blindness organization had tons of pictures of staff working at their facilities. And the images, the alt text were, a group of people at lunch. And I'm like, I don't get it. Why do I need to know that? Just make it shut up and make it move on. I want my screen reader to read fast, and I want my screen reader to tell me what I need to know. And I don't need to know that 4 people are eating lunch.
Okay, you gave us a lot of information, so I have 2 questions. Sorry,
No,
but
take your time.
first of all, with the iOS, is the audio describe for basically like on Hulu or any on-demand, I can have voiceover audio describe for me? And then the other question I had, do you think AI, or have you heard of the technologies basically giving you an option of high detail versus general detail? Or do they not consider that as a setting that should be incorporated into AI alt text?
So I know that it has been considered as an option, but nobody's offered that as an option. To answer the second question, nobody's giving me a choice of prompting it that way. All these tools that I demoed today, you ask it with the images and it generates the description, period. I would like that option to say, don't give me the emotion, don't give me this crap, I don't want it. None of them have offered that yet. The audio description on Apple products, it reads the audio description that's available provided by the movie. Amazon, however, does use AI to generate their alt text, and it does use synthesized voice to create that audio description. However, not all the shows, some of it have live audio describers, which is really important. But the ones that do use the AI, I was nitpicking when I was watching, what was I watching? I actually was watching The Birdcage the other day. And every other sentence had some form of grammatical pronunciation problem. So instead of said sitting in a yard, it said sat in a yard. And it's nitpicking, but it's bad.
Sorry. So it's still basically dependent on the producer of the media to provide some form of audio description language. If not, where we can have it on demand, like if I'm watching Chopped on Food Network and I wanted it audio described, I wouldn't be able to launch it and have it audio described because it's not inherently built into Chopped.
It is not inherently built into it, so no, you cannot. If you had an MP4 file of it, Seeing AI has the feature now where you can actually ask it to describe that MP4. You will miss about 50% of the content. So I have this really cute little, what I was hoping was clickbait video on my YouTube channel of a little puppy jumping over a baby gate. And instead of saying that the puppy was jumping over or climbing over the baby gate and jumping out, it said the puppy disappeared. Yeah. So it missed the actual key action of the video, which was the puppy jumping over the baby gate. And if you want to see that video, it's really cute. It's less than 30 seconds. It's called Labrador Puppy Escapes from Puppy Jail.
Hey, Lucy, I'm going to read some of the questions in the chat.
Absolutely.
Some of them might be you repeating things you've already said
Okay.
for clarification. So when you were going over the alt text options that AI was generating, which of the different ones did you say you preferred?
I prefer the Seeing AI ones, except for the length of them, because they're not adding any fluff or garbage to it.
Okay. very good.
I mean, the lookout ones were just too brief. You can be too brief as well, and they didn't express half of the thing that was there in the scene. And again, the slide, we are posting slides online for people, are we not, Adam? Yeah, so you can go through and read them through detail.
Lucy, I have a follow-up to that. Is there different topics that you would prefer it to be more detailed? Like if you were looking at family photos or things like that, would you want that fluffy stuff?
STEM. I want the STEM to try and tell me more detail than less. But, you know, I don't want it to tell me how I should feel. I want to be able to come up with my own feelings and my own emotions. It's kind of like a Rorschach. You know, you take a Rorschach test. What you feel is what's important in those tests, and what I feel shouldn't be described to me. And by the way, somebody did try and use Be My Eyes to describe Rorschachs. It was pretty funny.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I have one more clarifying one in the chat. When you were describing what you liked for helping guide you, we've got guesses in the chat. What did you call that? Guide?
Glide.
Glide.
Yeah, it glides along the ground, and the company is Glidance.
Okay,
So
perfect.
it's glidance.io.
All right. Thank you.
Just so you know, it was the most popular item at CSUN last year. The line was outside the exhibit hall and they were at the back corner. I expect it's going to be as popular this year.
Lucy, this is Glenda. One of the things I wanted to ask is, do you recommend Chat GPT or something like it to help us sighted folk write decent alt text or help us?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I would use it, maybe come up with a draft yourself and ask it to clarify it or clean it up, or maybe have it generate the alt text and then you clarify and clean it up. It can go both ways. I have no problem with people using those tools. At Accessing Higher Ground last year, I was sitting and listening to a presentation that was talking about using AI to describe images that they were doing at a university. I don't remember what university it was. And the woman kept saying, the AI can describe images that we have problems describing. And the professor has problems describing. And my gut reaction to that was, why the hell were you using a description you didn't, or an image that you can't describe yourself? You know, don't use the image if you don't know what you want to say about it. It doesn't have to be perfect. The AI can help you generate that. But if you don't know what's in the image, why ask the AI to tell you? So, you know, you still have to pick the images intelligently, and you have to help, you know, if you're trying to show an image of a heart and you get the AI to describe that image of the heart, it's not going to know that what you want to talk about was the left ventricle. You have to do that work, and then it can help you say it in language that's easier for people to understand. But if you don't know how to describe the image yourself, don't use that image. You like that answer, Glenda?
Yes, I do. And there's another thing that I've been thinking for a while now, and I think we've been stuck with one alt text fits all, where we have to choose what we're going to put in that alt equals attribute, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And I think the time is soon coming where it's important for us to put a short alt text in there that helps explain the context of why that image is. And I too would keep it under 150 characters, but that new AI assistive technology will be available for humans to query that image the way they want it.
Are you saying, Glenda, that maybe we should bring back the ability to create your own long desk?
Is John Folio in the room?
All righty.
I had to channel him, Glenda. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much, Lucy. If everybody doesn't mind joining me in one more round of applause.